Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Haikyuu chapter 277. Um, a bit up and down chapter for Karasuno. Um, it, Lots of things happened. We got the question to or the answer to Kenma's question to Kuro, what he would do against Suna, because his tactic against blockers is super great and it's hard to really block him. Um, And I like that Kuro was like, I mean, I can guess, I can see like the strategy behind it. I can see how he does it, but in the end, I'd probably be sucked into just like trying to jump and block him. And he'd probably like not do like super well, even though he understands what's going on. And I really like that because when we then shift to see the flashback where they're talking about what to do about his spikes. And then they're like, we don't have to see this as a 1-on-1, it's a 1-on-6, because even though there's one spiker, we're 6 people who are able to achieve it or somehow counter it. And I'm really happy that when they say like to counter it or whatever, however they phrase it, they don't necessarily mean to block it, they just mean don't allow the other team to get a point, because if we don't block it, we can just receive it. And I really like that, because it's kind of the same tactic they had against Ushiwaka, where they were like, okay, we may not be able to block him, but we can make sure that he can't do the cross, and then Nishinori can receive his straight spike. With Suna, they're doing the opposite, so Tsuki is blocking off his straight, and he's able to do the cross. And I think that's really great, because then they're still working together really well and all that stuff. And Suna is beginning to catch on to Tsuki's strategy, because in the beginning of the chapter he was like, well, it's only like the scary blockers who are really blocking, and that 11 glasses guy, he's not really a scary blocker, so obviously he's not gonna do anything. And then 4 pages later, 5 pages later, he's like, dang, this guy, everything's going according to plan, basically. So I really like that moment, because it really shows how like Tsuki is that calm, calculated player. He doesn't get too emotional, and he doesn't get too caught up in the match. So when he loses a couple of points because of he doesn't block things, he doesn't get like, oh no, what should I do now? He just keeps on grinding, and he keeps with his plan, because he knows in the end it'll work out for him. So I thought that was really great. And I really like the moment too with Kinoshita is his name, right? Possibly. Let me just quickly be sure that I'm saying this right, because that's very important. I mean, you know who I'm talking about, but I just wanted to really... Yeah, Kinoshita. When he gets out, he's called in to do a pinch. He's called in as a pinch server, and he has that entire thing where he looks calm, and it looks like he's gonna make it, and then Inarasaki ends up getting a point. And I really loved his speech afterwards, where he was like, I know that I'm not like a genius like Kageyama and Nishinoya, and seeing all those first years, it just makes me feel like I'm not that league, but at the very least I thought I could be like these people like Yamaguchi or Narita or Chikara, who even though they don't have that star quality, they have those heroic moments, and I really thought I could do that, but I couldn't. In the end, I did not have my time to shine. I really like that, because you have to work for it, and I'm not saying he hasn't worked for it, but it's like, you have to work together. You can't just expect to have your moment. You have to work for the moment. You have to prepare for every outcome of the situation, and just think, okay, today I failed, but tomorrow I can do better, or I can train harder to become what I want to become. And I thought that was really great, because he is still a second year, and that means that there's time for time for him to improve. And I'm excited to see where that brings him, because at this moment his storyline is very much like Yamaguchi's in the beginning of the series. Like, he didn't really have much to contribute, and then he became pinch server with the jump floater as his thing. But in the beginning it was very shaky, and it didn't work out as well. So I'm interested in seeing where his storyline takes him, because I think him and Yamaguchi will go down 2 different roads. But that's kind of has something to do with the fact that I think great things are coming Yamaguchi's way. Not as much with this guy, because he's not a first year, and the first years are like the main priority of the series. But I would like more exposition of the second years, or the 3 second years who haven't gotten as much. Like obviously, Inoshita Chikara, whatever we call him, he's gonna be the captain. So obviously, whenever we move into the next year, he's gonna have a lot more screen time. But I would like to see more of Kinoshita and Narita as well, because even though Kinoshita said that Narita was also one of those people who like he does well when he needs to do well. It's like we still haven't seen much of him, and yeah, when we does see him, he does do well. He does he plays his part, but we haven't seen much of him, and I would love to see that. So. And he is also a middle blogger, which is, of course, it's hard to be a middle blogger on Karasuno in these days because you have both Hinata and Tsuki, who are so great at what they do, but maybe Hinata will go back to being a wing spiker since they're losing two when the third years leave. Of course, at that point, we'll also get new first years, obviously, so it'll be interesting to see the dynamic there, but my point was I want to see how the second years they evolve from here, because half of them are like not at the same level as the others yet, and they have potential to be. And I think that's what I have to say about this chapter. Again, it was great. It was really interesting to see, like, we had the beginning, which was like a bit of explanation, and then you have like the counter attack against Suna and how to deal with his spikes when you can't block them. But then you also had the sadder note of Kinoshita being like, this should be my moment, but it wasn't, and that's really sad. So I really enjoyed that contrast between the two halves of the chapter. Yeah, so it was really great in that sense. But yeah, I think that concludes my review. You can leave a thumbs up if you liked anything that I had to say. Leave in the comments below what you thought of the chapter, and you can subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, bye!